It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
This is Car Con Carne. Car Con Carne is sponsored by Exploding House Printing. Exploding House Printing is here for all of your screen printing, embroidery, and other merch needs. They're local. They're over in Hermosa, and they like supporting local artists. Well, national artists, too. National creators, artisans, whomever. But they are local. So if you're in a local band, whether, they've done stuff for Meatwave, the Brokedowns, a long list of bands, and then brands like Dante's Pizzeria, the Botanic Garden. Really cool stuff. The Music Box. You can look at their stuff online, see their client list at Exploding House, explodinghouseprinting.com. But you should know, Jonathan, the guy behind Exploding House, he's been doing this stuff for decades. I mean, he knows what he's doing. So far beyond his technical expertise, he delivers production efficiency and cost awareness to offer boutique print shop quality at much lower large print shop prices. If you have merch needs, give Jonathan a call or just email him. Check him out on Instagram at Exploding House, or again, explodinghouseprinting.com to get a quote and check out that client list. So the question, it's a rhetorical question. Don't answer it. I wouldn't hear you if you did. Was life better before the digital era, before social media, before likes, DMs, AI? And if the answer is yes, were the 1970s the gold standard for analog living? That case is kind of being made in the immersive and totally not real world of Golden Sands, which finds itself putting down 10 pegs in Evanston the night after I'm recording this. Make the Scene with Program 4, the affiliate sales presentation, is happening at Space as I'm recording this tomorrow night, May 28th, and the stars of Golden Sands will come alive in vivid color among cocktails, candlelight, and celebrity walk-ons. Because this universe is strictly analog, you're going to struggle to learn more online, let alone see what it's all about. I'll save you a step. You really can't, which is why I've asked Program 4's creator, the architect of Golden Sands, Rachel Lichtman, to jump in the car to talk about the shag-covered, pre-cable TV universe that she's created. And Rachel, this seems like a tough one to simmer down to an elevator pitch.
It really is. Although I love that introduction. Thank you so much. It is, though. It's when I sort of boil it down to, Program 4 is a feature presentation of what looks like a broadcast of analog television from days gone by. There's no real hard era that is assigned to it, really, because I kind of like to think about it as a station that is still broadcasting this way, that is still current, and not current so much. It's maybe out of time and maybe interdimensional. And
so in the multiverse, this just never stopped.
It just never stopped. We never stopped writing these jingles. We never stopped designing this design and green lighting shows like this. And it just kind of continued on in this direction.
And so to properly understand what this is, and there's every chance that by the time people see or hear this, they'll be too late for this local appearance. Yeah. But to properly understand this, they need to see this, because this is meant to be this immersive in-person experience.
It is. It is an experience. I've really planned this sort of tour I'm doing, and hopefully will continue to do, as an immersive experience, even at its most sort of basic presentation. And if you see this in a cinema, for example, there's going to be a Rhodes player playing you in. There's going to be a 10-minute cinema snipe presentation from the fictional West Sands Plaza Cinema, and with, snack bar and, this type of thing. Well, lots of people don't know what a snipe package is. I have to explain that one a lot. Anyway, it's like snack bar and fire exits, those types of announcements, coming attractions. And then you'll see the feature presentation, and then there will be a sort of 70s style talk show, Q&A afterward. You might see Mike Mills sing Laughter in the Rain.
Oh my God.
You will see a number done by a notable singer-songwriter. You will see authors and radio hosts and musicians and comedians be involved, even at that sort of basic presentation level. Television of Tomorrow, which is the first one of which is premiering at Evanston Space May 27th. And if you missed it, I'm sorry because it was great. I'm speaking to you from the future where
Yes.
I know it was amazing. Is the more elaborate...
Wait, May 27th. What is today's date?
May 26th.
Oh, my Lord.
I know.
I said May 28th.
No, it's May 27th.
May 27th. Memorial Day fucked me up.
I know.
It always does. All right, sorry.
That's okay.
As you were.
So that Television of Tomorrow is sort of like where industrial musicals meet sort of 70s upfronts, where you will have this sort of sales presentation. And it's really, really funny. There are a lot of notable comics and singers and musicians that I can't even believe this murderer's row of the greats, like just greats. And so that's going to be super fun. And I'd like to do that one more. Obviously, it takes more to produce. But in the meantime, I'm going to be continuing this type of presentation for as long as I can so that people can actually enjoy the experience. Because part of what you said in the introduction about, like, was it better? Was it worse? You know, I think that it was just different. We didn't know we were living in analog times. There are things that I think we took for granted. And one of those things is our attention and how we paid it. And in terms of television or film or whatever, we sat there and we were not participants in what was being broadcast to us. If you were waiting for a show to come on, like I'm waiting for the Monkees to come on, WFLD, and I'm sitting through a lot of other shows waiting for the Monkees. And during that day, I might see Green Acres. I might see The Partridge Family, which also I was also waiting for. But I might watch Tennessee Tuxedo. I mean,
Sure.
But it's aerated back. What I'm watching on WFLD was not from that year that I was watching it. It was from a few years prior, 10 years prior,
Sure.
in some cases 20, 25 years. And so the idea of seeing this kind of combination of things without being able to really do much in terms of channel changing. I mean, you could, but it was very limited. And so you sat with things.
Right.
And sitting with things is what I'm trying to get people to do. I think that there's a definite spiritual subtext to this for me, being quiet. So much of this was developed during the pandemic where
Sure.
I wanted to feel like in a meditative state, and the work itself was meditative for me and also therapeutic. So I feel that the response I've gotten to these screenings has been very much like that kind of feeling, that response. Is everything okay with the camera?
Just trying to, I've got the angle, I'm like clipping you. I don't want to lose you. So hang on, I'm playing with it as you're talking.
Okay.
I know we want,
Let me do it.
I told you this is DIY.
It doesn't. No, it looks fine.
All
It
right.
looks fine.
All right. We're super
fine.
DIYing it right
No,
now.
it's totally fine.
All right, but what you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and certainly I remember the tyranny of only having 3 networks to choose from, and of course the VHF stations like WFLD, like just having to wait. And
You had to wait, yeah. And even later when MTV came out, I mean, really, even when cable happened, you're still waiting for a video or whatever. And it's the same with radio. I mean, you just absorbed stuff.
Yeah.
You absorbed stuff that people who assumedly knew, is assumedly a word? Can we cut that?
First, no, that's it. That works.
Assumedly knew better than you did about like what to present. They were in show business.
Nothing was on demand.
No. Nothing was on demand?
Nothing was on demand.
Nothing was on demand. And I'm telling you, even into like basic cable and early cable, you still, when you had more choices of what to watch, it's still, even though that many choices in retrospect does not seem like a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And I think now there are so many options that it becomes like the Three Stooges trying to get through the door where nothing gets through.
It's so
Nothing
true.
kind of really appeals to you. Like, how many people out there listening have sat down like, I want to watch something, and then, you know, you've already watched the shows that you watch, so you're scrolling for something, and you sit there scrolling for like a half an hour. Nothing really looks good. There's something about the interface of it that's like, nothing really presents something that you would watch in a heartbeat if it was on like the 3:30 movie. And you'd be like, woo,
Yes.
This is good. This is pretty good. I'm going to sit and watch it. You're not interested in it. There's got to be something better. You know what? And it's this constant chase of something. It's like chasing the dragon
So
of culture.
true.
They're like trying to find, like, what is it? What am I looking for? And guess what? 9 times out of 10, you default to watching Columbo or one of these things that you've seen a million times.
The stuff, the nostalgic
Yeah.
force of whatever you grew up with.
Yes.
And this, in a way, speaks to something I've been talking about for a while,
Yeah.
is the need for curation. When you have
Yeah.
access to everything ever created, you can't cut through it all. You need something, whether it's the 8 o'clock movie, like you said, or just some kind of trusted voice to steer you in that direction. Otherwise, you're just flailing.
When everybody has access to everything.
Yes.
Curation is the only thing that matters. And creation also. True creation, human creation, and people who know what they're doing. And, you know, in a lot of ways, there was a playing field that was leveled by the internet, and that was a very good thing. It allowed access to people out there who may not have had access, who wanted to participate. And I think that that's wonderful.
Sure.
Okay. I am one of those people who has utilized technology in a way to make the things that I want to make. That was available to me, you know. But now we're at the point when, in terms of consumption, when you talk about the internet, there's really been there was a corner turned sometime around 2015, 2016, when it happened to coincide with another event.
David Bowie's death, Cubs winning the World Series.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that the internet started to change in a way that became untenable and very content oriented, and no one really cared who was creating that content, which really set the stage for AI to come in, because when you don't care who made something, then you don't care about creation, you don't care about art, you just care about the product. And so now we have an entire world that is basically mostly AI. They took away all of our public spaces on there where we would engage organically, and they attached algorithms and they attached advertising. I fully believe that, you know, some of those, I won't say which ones, but I think some of them are truly like some kind of psyops to study the way that humans interact. The one I'm speaking of has no ads on it. And that is extremely suspicious.
It's extremely.
And it's really crazy how the feed runs. And you're like, what is this? So not only did they take away our sort of like town squares, which Twitter was for such a long time.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it today, how I, met so many incredible people.
So did I.
Really. Yeah. Like some of the people I collaborate with to this day. My friend Chris Murphy, who is here for the show, who I work with on everything. We met on Twitter in like 2012. And I was describing it like Studio 54 at its heyday. But then, of course, like Studio 54, it was, it fell apart, and it just kind of became a place that was, completely overtaken by negativity and corporate, I don't even know, just garbage. The pendulum has to swing the other way. It's like prog to punk, where we now have to swing away from the internet and rediscover some of the old ways that we used to communicate and take them back, because you know what? Those are really solid ways. And whether it means like word of mouth, like, hey, check this thing out, you might like it. Where if your friend who has really good taste tells you to do that, you're more likely to do it.
There's that
than
curation.
To see, Yes, exactly. But it's not just curation; it's curation with a voucher from somebody who you respect.
Yeah.
Curation. There are tons of people who curate on the internet. Tons. There are people who run entire accounts of stuff that they've dug through YouTube to find or whatever, and that's fine. But like, it means something when you're sharing an experience with a friend. I mean, you can discover stuff online, maybe, I guess, that it's still a spoke on the wheel, but it's not the whole wheel.
Yeah.
And so now I think, it's like taking a city like Detroit and revitalizing it. You take something that's been left for dead and you start to revitalize it. And that's why so many vaudeville theaters in the Midwest are getting bought up and renovated, and people are moving back to smaller towns and bringing culture and art back to those towns. This is happening all over the country because it's outside of corporate development. It's outside of that eye. And also I think people, in terms of cost of living and all these things. So then now we're talking about a pendulum swing back to local culture, which is, in my opinion, something that we lost also when everything became syndicated.
100%.
And so now, I mean, when we were growing up, I assume we're about around the same age. I'm probably older than you.
35?
I'm much older than you. Anyway, you associated bands with certain cities. That's like, you know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, like I want to go to Athens, Georgia, like so badly. And every city had their like cool swirl of activity. And that's what made it cool, was people were just doing like art, like Baltimore, like John Waters, and, people just doing whatever, the stakes were lower in a weird way. So they could afford to sort of take chances that they maybe wouldn't feel comfortable taking if they were like in a major market and didn't, had to, try and compete with the business at large, quotes.
No, all this is to say, what you're describing is exactly the approach you're taking with these shows. It's not something that's being algorithmically fed up to people. This is something, it's IYKYK in internet speak. If you know, you know. Like, people are talking about it and they're sharing it with their friends. They're saying, "Oh, you got to come with me," and they're taking their friends to experience this together. That's not an internet experience. That is good old-fashioned, old-school socialization.
It is. And it also spreads like wildfire that way. People really underestimate it. And because when somebody has an experience like that and they're like, you really need to do this, word gets out. And every one of these shows that I've done has been extremely special and unique. And the people who experienced it loved it so much and felt so connected to it, because ultimately Program 4 allows you to there's a lot of laughs and there's a lot of music. There's also a lot of melancholy and permission to feel your feelings. And in that sense, it's almost a little bit like Sesame Street for adults in some ways.
At last.
Thank you.
At last.
Yeah, no, it is. It's very much that. It's because it cares about. It allows you to your vulnerability. It allows you to feel the loneliness and isolation of not just what we've all experienced collectively in the last however long, but like, really being in touch with who you are inside, and how you can connect with other people instead of just being, on the business end of this like handheld casino that basically makes you feel like nothing you do is worthwhile.
Yes.
And that is not the way to be. We're done. It's over. They killed it. That's fine. The sooner they kill it, the better. The sooner we move on. That's how I feel.
The handheld casino. That's exactly what it is.
It is.
So going to these events, you mentioned Mike Mills doing this. I mean, that is kind of thrilling. Like, you can't see footage of that online.
No.
So it's kind of like an Easter egg at every performance. Like, oh my God, that happened. Like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, Scott McCoy did a number with Jenny Conley in Portland, and then Juliana Hatfield did a number at the Boston screening at the Regent in Arlington. Josh Canner, all the players. It's been like Jay Gonzalez and Jenny Conley and Josh Canner, and then coming up we've got like Kelly Stoltz and all these amazing people. We've got a big show in New York that's coming, and Ted Leo was the master of ceremonies at the WFMU Monty Hall show, and the great David Naekler on the keys. And it's always been like a Rhodes piano.
I love
There's
that.
something about there's something about the Rhodes sound that is extremely evocative, and there's in fact a bit about that in Program 4. But there's something about the fact that the Rhodes sound, almost like a vibraphone, has like a negative attack. It almost goes backwards in time.
It does.
And so many people associate the Rhodes with obviously Angela's theme, for good reason. And there is a real melancholy to that too, Bob James. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful pieces of music, I think, that has ever been recorded. And it makes people feel, my one friend always says, like, oh, I'm sad because I have to go to school. Like, that's the thing that comes to him when he hears it. And so it's extremely evocative, the Rhodes. And I wrote a comedy bit about that. But so it's been really wonderful. And yeah, there's been pictures, but no video has been posted online. And
this is like being admitted into a secret club.
yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah.
So is it the same show with different players in every market? Are you just
Yes.
plugging them in? So like Dag Juhlin,
Yeah.
I'm not giving anything away. He was listed as one of the performers. You basically hand him a script. You tell him to ad lib. Like, do you like help him get in character? Like, here's who you are. Here's your motivation, that kind of thing.
Well, he has a character that he's going to bring to life at this show called Rod Kellogg. And Rod Kellogg,
I know you say you don't want to lock yourself into the 70s specifically, but his name is Rod Kellogg, which is about as 70s as it gets.
I know.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Roger Whittaker type, where it's like super square, kind of half in the bag, gentle, surrounded by a bunch of grooviness that he doesn't understand. And
we are all Rod Kellogg.
yeah, we're all Rod Kellogg, exactly. And I have to say about Dag Juhlin that everything I've done in the recent years, I've done with Dag Juhlin and Chris Murphy and Ted Leo and Amy Mann and Michael Penn have been like my kind of, my circle of people that have given me so much of their talent. And Dag
Speaking of Michael Penn, should Seeing the Doctor have been a bigger hit in the 1990s?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Michael Penn's a genius. But anyway, I've been very fortunate to work with those people who are all just superlatively talented, and then do really fun and goofy stuff that they don't ever really get to do, And so that's been really fun. And Dag is one of those people. And he is Pat Carston's on Easy AM 66, which is the beautiful music station from Golden Sands, I should say. And there are 3 episodes of Easy AM 66 that are all scripted episodes. And I'm Joyce Vann, and he's Pat Carston's, and Chris Murphy is Jim Robeck. And, we have a bunch of round robin of special guests. And so Dag is Rod Kellogg in the show Coming to Space. And that is a scripted show, and we worked on that stuff together. And I like to work with everybody who I'm writing for to make sure that what is being written is a collaboration and it feels good for them. And Dag is a brilliant comedy writer in his own right.
Agreed.
And so I always run stuff by him, and he has fantastic ideas 1,000,000% of the time. So we just made it swing. And Chris Murphy did the same. And so he will be Jim Robeck in the show. And Rod Kellogg has a show on Program 4 called Rod Kellogg's Sounds of Today. And it is a music show. And so he's also in Program 4 on the TV.
Amazing. Now, my question, since you have all these different people in all these different markets, I know you've got Rich Koz, you've got Jon Langford of the Mekons and the Wacos, you've got Kelly Hogan, you've got all these different names, Joel Murray as part of your cast. Like, you don't have time to rehearse, really, do you? I mean, other than day of, like a sound check? I mean,
yeah.
Are you just kind of rolling the dice and hoping that everyone nails it? Okay.
Yep, but thank you for not making me feel nervous about
No.
that.
I mean, you figured out this formula. You've got this.
This is the thing. When everyone is as professional as they are, all they have to do, they have their parts, and then we get in the room, and I will glue it together. It's all good. Everybody has their part. I know the run of show. I've got Bob Ness, our dear friend,
Love
is
Bob
going to
Ness.
be running the audiovisual aspect
Oh,
of
you're
it, the
fine.
slideshow for the
Yeah.
pre-show. And then, so that's going to be great. And everything else we will figure out in the room. But I designed it that way so that it could be sort of done in a modular way.
That makes
with
sense.
specific sort of cues and beats to it, you know.
So even with those cues and beats, is there room for a little ad-libbing? Do people kind of stretch
yeah.
out a little bit? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, Dag can do whatever he wants. He has a script, and there's only one real segment where the lines need to be timed because there's a slideshow.
Right.
But other than that, like, he can do whatever he wants. I'm not here to put Dag Juhlin in a cage.
No one puts Dag Juhlin in a cage.
In a corner.
How big is that Rolodex of yours? You seem to have like an endless access to some pretty major talent.
It's true. I am older. I'm middle-aged, and I have been around. I've lived in every major city. I have worked in a million different ways with a million different people, and things just kind of come together. Over time, you meet people, you become friends, and then you just kind of try to work with your friends. So
I get that.
I've been very lucky that I've been able to encounter so many really incredible, special people, but also they are just wonderful people who are just so brilliantly talented, and I'm very fortunate that everybody takes my calls.
And maybe it's a generational thing. Every time I see a name that you've worked with, I'm like, I love that person. I think we are of similar age because everyone you bring out, I'm like, oh, adore, worship, respect.
Well, Rich Koz is, for me, kind of a real feather in the cap, too, because, and everyone knows that, you know, everyone who's going to be listening or watching this would agree that he was so our leader. Growing up in Chicagoland, and he continues to be. I respect and admire him almost just, words can't even describe it. He changed my life. Son of Svengoolie changed my life. Without any hyperbole. And it just showed me, I was so into Mad Magazine and all these in comedy albums that my parents had. And my dad introduced me to Son of Svengoolie because he was a fan of Svengoolie, Jerry G. Bishop. And I just immediately just locked on to it. The fake commercials.
Yes.
Especially for like vampire carpeting, where it was like back in the day where like Empire was only a Chicago thing. And I mean, I thought that was like the funniest thing ever. Like, you can do this and you can talk over the movie and you can make fun of it and you can do all, I mean, it was like, it blew my mind. So I have been really fortunate to be able to get to know him a little bit and work with him on a couple of different things. And he was on the Easy AM66 comedy album, and he'll be doing that bit tomorrow night.
Love Rich Koz. For me, I mean, I love Son of Svengoolie, now Svengoolie. You know, I grew up with it as well. Rich Koz told me as a radio person that you don't just have to do radio for your entire life, because he had a radio career too. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to lock yourself into that. You can be creative in other ways. He
thought outside of the box in a million different ways, and he made that into something really substantially great. And I mean, I just really admire him. So I'm very excited that he's going to be a part of it. And of course, I mean, every single person involved is somebody that I think is just unbelievably talented. I'm really excited about this show as a whole, too, the idea behind it, because I do love those industrial musicals so much. It's so fun to write one and to have this idea of this like low stakes sales presentation by Browner, the Browner Corporation, who owns Browner Carpeting, and a lot of other subsidiaries in Golden Sands. They're like the Pritzkers of Golden Sands, and but yeah, it's super fun to do, and everyone I get to work with is so perfect for it, you know.
And I've got to think,
I can keep doing them.
I've got to think, going back to the different people you pull in for the different shows in different markets, I've got to think that they love being able to do something like this. This is so atypical of what their days look like, generally speaking. I've got to think like they're all in.
They are, because it is fun, and that's the whole idea behind it, because it's really it's delightful. It's all the things we love. It's all the things we love about television and you know, in comedy and music and stuff. It's just great. And I mean, there's music videos in Program 4. I mean, aside from the show, like, I mean, Program 4 itself is a very like rich variety of stuff. And I think that it's sort of, I'm really happy that people are responding to it like they have, because I know I love it. That's the world I want to live in. And so I'm just asking everybody to come live in it with me, because this world, the other one, that's not for us.
Yeah,
I don't know who it's for, but it's not for us.
I am all for retreating into Golden Sands and Program 4. Like that, I'm on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Makes perfect sense to me. We talked about this before we started recording when we were talking yesterday. Like, everyone is always on. Everyone is plugged in. Like, I am fully ready to drop out. Yeah. Put the phone away and just see these incredibly talented people bring this super cool vision to life. I mean, I'm excited, and we're doing this on a Wednesday, middle of the week. What a great way to break up the week.
It's so perfect. And all these shows I'm doing, I'm trying to do them where it's like on an off day and kind of early, because that's how I want to go see something.
Oh yeah, we're not getting any younger here. The earlier the better. Yeah.
It's the early bird screening.
7:30, 6:30 doors. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, 6:30 doors, and then like the Carolyn Engelman vibration is going to be playing for like an hour.
That's awesome.
I know, so everyone can come early and have cocktails and hang out beforehand. And
yeah, this isn't a beer drinking event.
No, this is like, you know,
something in a highball glass.
Have a sidecar, yeah. Have an old fashioned. Have a Harvey Wallbanger.
Yes, yes. Just when in Rome,
right? Exactly.
When in Golden Sands.
Yep, yeah. When in Golden Sands. We should make a drink called the Golden Sands. I'm actually.
I'm surprised you haven't done that.
I'm going to make it. I'm going to figure it out tonight. I know what I'm going to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations on making this into what it is and getting that word of mouth, building that street level, old school buzz. I love the concept. I love the immersive. I love the overarching, interesting place and time this universe you've created. I just love the method behind it.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And sometimes you just have to build the thing you want to see and create it. And that's just what I have been able to do. And I kind of can't stop doing it. And I hope to continue doing all these kinds of shows, whether it's a screening or a more elaborate show like the one here at Space. There's going to be a lot more shows, and they're all going to be listed on the website. There's new shows that are being booked all the time.
Sure.
So at program4.tv is where you can make the scene and find out what shows are coming. And other than that, keep your ear to the ground.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience and their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's LIBSYN, ads.com today.